We're talking about money here. You're not going to get in front of money with your feelings. Nobody in today's world right now with the greed that's going on. There was supposed to be a strike today. There was supposed to be a strike over the weekend. The international theaters, electricians, caterers, grips, all this shit, you know. It was scary. That would be a fucking scary strike because all the networks wouldn't have been able to work except HBO, Cinemax, Showtime. I forget what the list was. That would have been fucking scary for us right now, you know, especially after the 18-month lockdown, you know, the rent, whatever. It would have been fucking scary for people. Mandates now with this shit. So they settled it. When I woke up Sunday morning, I saw that they settled it the last fucking minute. I don't even know how this transpired into this, but what I was trying to say is, you know, we work things out. We have to work things out. Number one, I'm tipping my hat. And I know I'm going to anger a lot of people when I say this. I'm tipping my hat to the president of fucking Netflix. I'm tipping my hat. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stand by your product. You're supposed to stand by your decision. I'm sure Dave said some stuff about murdering the transvestite or beating up the transgender or the lesbian. Listen, what about when I said I did coke with my cat? Did you really fucking go home and think that I did coke with my cat? Sometimes an over-exaggeration is what makes the joke funny. Do you understand me? The over-exaggeration of it makes the joke funny. I never did a line of coke. I never did coke with that fucking cat. I had a 10-minute bit. I wrote an imaginary story, of me doing cocaine with my cat. People would laugh. People loved the fucking bit. Nobody ever complained to me. It was a bullshit joke. That's part. Comedy has so many different aspects to it. You make fun of it. You exaggerate it. You fucking, you know. So that's what this is all about. Now, I'm sure Dave, being Dave, and the mind of the comic. Listen, the mind of the comic, I'm going to tell you what happens with a comic. For you to be a successful comic, and I have a lot of comics on my Patreon now. Ty, Sal, a lot of young comics. I'm going to tell you something. And this goes for musicians also, okay? Any great musician, anybody who broke through on a comedy level, anybody who breaks through on the arts, they broke through because they went against the mold. They went against the status quo. They went against what they were told. You're not going to make moves by going up there and giving them what the fuck they want. Years ago, I heard a great story, and I patted myself, and I'm happy. I heard this story when I was into comedy 2 years or 3 years in Denver. Kevin Fitzgerald, dear friend of mine, I've gone back to this story 10 times this week talking to people, was doing a spot at the Comedy Works. He was not opening up, you know, if you know anything about the Comedy Works, it's a couple different comics and then the headliner goes up. That's why it's a hard club to work, because you have to follow 8 headliners. That's why a lot of people are like, fuck, I'm not working the Comedy Works. You have to follow, she takes the comics that are home, the headliners that are home from Tuesday to Thursday, and puts them up there, and you have to follow them. So anyway, he was one of the many comics. He just happened to be going up before Bill Hicks. He brought up Bill Hicks for the first show. Great show. Nobody complained. There was a second show. Bill Hicks's road manager went up to him and said, listen, Kevin, Mr. Hicks does a similar marijuana joke. This is your brain on drugs. This is your brain on marijuana, whatever. He goes, you know, it would be great if you didn't do that joke. Kevin Fitzgerald looked him in the eye and said, I won't do it, and went on stage and did it. When he got off stage, the guy tried to muscle him, and when Bill Hicks got off stage, he hired him as an opener. And Kevin Fitzgerald ended up going up on the road with Bill Hicks. What a fucking honor that is. I wouldn't shut up about it. If I got to open up for Bill Hicks and got to be schooled by Bill Hicks, I just walk around with my dick out like fucking my man Brad Pitt after Legends of the Fall. Forget about it. Just take your dick out. Who gives a fuck? But if Bill Hicks hired you after he told you not to do something, what does that mean? That is what makes a comic tick. If you tell me before I go on stage not to say that joke, I'm going to say it. How many people watch Fresh Out of Compton? You watch Fresh Out of Compton? When they went to Detroit, what the motherfucking guy tell them? Don't do any police, don't do fuck the police. What did they do? They went up there and did fuck the police. That's what we do. That's what makes us different. That's what makes you cut through. That's what, when people hear things like that, they go, okay, that's my fucking guy. He didn't fucking adhere to what they told him. He didn't give a fuck, you know. And I don't know if you guys remember this. Why did Dave Chappelle walk away from the $50 million deal from Comedy Central? Did you ever think of that? Because when you're in the TV business, first off, Dave Chappelle's been doing this since he was fucking 13 years old in the city, okay? So it's like me. I've been doing this since I was fucking 25. If tomorrow CBS called me and said, we want you to do a show about bookies, okay, and you're playing one of the bookies, and after 2 weeks, after the first season, the show is a success. What's a success? It's done great numbers. People like it. It's an 8 o'clock show, whatever. What if they come to me after 3 years and say, and they go, oh, we got new showrunners, we got new people working at the network. And what if you, let's say you're 35 years old. I'm just asking you a general question to think about this on a Monday fucking morning. What if you were, if somebody came to you and you had a successful hit and some kid from CBS came to you that just graduated Syracuse with no television experience, just what they taught him in college, maybe a year, and he got promoted to be the liaison between CBS and you. And he's coming to you saying to you, yeah, this is what needs to be done on this show. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. Eventually, one day, you're going to go, time out. No disrespect to you. You just graduated college. You don't even know what the fuck we're doing here. I've been on a fucking street corner popping jokes and in clubs since I was 13 years old. I've gotten through fucking 18 ABC deals. Dave Chappelle paid his fucking dues. Okay, they tried to put him on TV like 20 fucking times with their ideas, and they couldn't get him on TV with their ideas. So finally, Dave Chappelle and Neil Brennan created the fucking Dave Chappelle show, and what happened? With his own brain, because they wanted to do what they wanted to do with Dave.